There comes a point in entrepreneurship where I think the question has to change. When you're starting out, you ask, how do I make more money? How do I get another customer? How do I increase sales? How do I grow my business? Those are great questions, but eventually I think great entrepreneurs start asking a different question. What can I own? Can I own the business? Can I buy another business? Can I own the building? Can I buy the land? Can I acquire the customers instead of finding them one at a time? Can I build assets that continue to producing value beyond the hours I personally work? And eventually, can I build something that lasts beyond me? My guest today grew up around entrepreneurship. His dad owned businesses. He went on to build businesses of his own. He's grown through acquisitions. He's invested in land and other assets. He even built an RV park. And over the years, he's become a part of something much larger in the insurance industry. But that's actually not why I wanted him on the podcast. I want to know, how does he think? Because there's a difference between someone who makes money and someone who learns how to build, buy, and own things that create wealth. There's an even bigger question for Christian entrepreneurs. How do we build wealth, own assets, pursue opportunity while remembering who it all belongs to, not us? That's where we're going today. Welcome back to the eForge podcast, where overwhelmed operators become empowered leaders and where we forge businesses, influence, and legacies that last. I'm your host, Cory Long, and I'm excited about today's conversation because my guest is someone I've gotten to know personally. Brian Hutcherson is a great businessman and an entrepreneur, an investor. He's built and acquired businesses and assets. But more importantly to me, Brian loves God and he loves people. And that's exactly and actually who we wanted to get to know and get connected onto this podcast. The more I've gotten to know him, the more I've wanted to sit down and unpack how he approached businesses, entrepreneurship, opportunity, risk, wealth, stewardship, because I think there's a lot we learn from someone who didn't just build it himself and like another job. He learned how to think like an owner. So Brian, welcome to the eForge podcast. Thank you for coming on today. I know you and I have kind of struggled to make sure and get you on. Timing and all the other stuff has happened, but thanks for coming on and giving me a little bit of time today. Give people an idea of your background, because I know you and I both kind of grew up around dads that were entrepreneurial minded. Your family's entrepreneurial minded. Your kids are even running your RV park right now. I mean, come on. Yeah. Give our audience an idea of a little bit of your background.
For sure. Thanks for having us on, Cory. We appreciate it. My background starts probably when I was 7 years old, maybe 8. We moved back to Texas from California, and my dad was called to come join his brother and buy an old insurance company from 1926. And so that's what they did, moved us back to Texas, where we were from. He was from North Texas, from a little town called Era, Texas, a little farming community right north of Dallas, Fort Worth. And so we moved back, and that's where my love for people and, I don't know if it's really entrepreneurship, but definitely love for people and selling really got started. And it's an interesting thing because our family actually has genetics, somehow genetics in selling. And the reason I say that, my grandmother, who is my dad's mom, she lived to be 97, but she could sell you anything.
Yeah.
And my personality is a lot like hers.
I love it.
And so it truly is genetic. And she was the number one salesperson for home interiors, which are the little bitty porcelain boys and girls and birds and everything else that was all the rage, back in the maybe 60s, 70s, 80s. And she was the number one salesperson in Texas, maybe the country. And the people that own the Mavericks, the Carter family, actually started that business, and she was friends with Ms. Carter. But
That's
just to
wild.
give you a quick rundown, it really goes back that far. And my dad always said, I knew you had grandmother in you.
That's wild.
And my uncle's that way too. He has the same genetics, and we actually look alike. He looks more like my father than my dad does. So it's pretty interesting. But I guess I'm a triplet, and so there's 3 of us. And we're all boys, and I have a sister that's 8 years younger. But all 4 of us went to Abilene Christian University. I'm the only person that has stayed in sales my whole career. My brother, he was with me as a partner for 22 years. He's retired and moving on to bigger and better things. And then my sister raises kids, and then my other brother, he's in the banking business.
Yeah.
And so I'm the only person that has done all kind of sales and all different kinds of businesses. But I did learn a ton, of course, by asking questions
Yeah.
and learning from asking questions. And one thing I think is important is that you have to know what your learning style is, right? My learning style was not reading, writing, any of that stuff. If I could ask a question and get an answer, I could remember it. And I'm not saying I have a photographic memory, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And my dad used to say, "I love you asking questions, and I know you learn that way, but you're driving me crazy." So, but that's how I've always learned,
Yeah.
And so the more I talk to people, and the more I get into their life, and their insurance. I'm an insurance agent. That's what I do mainly, but second generation. But that's how I learn, and then I take that knowledge and I start taking risks maybe, and not taking what I've learned and go, man, that guy's really successful, and he did that. Like the RV park. I got a buddy that built an RV park, and I'm like, man, he's doing really good. Went and talked to him, got all the information. I thought I can do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I did. I wasn't scared to take risks, because as I've grown over the years, I learned what risks are smart to take and which risks aren't smart to take.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as you said, this stuff's not ours; it's God's.
Yeah.
So I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we're doing it for His glory, right? So if He blesses us, which I have to say, I've been blessed more than anybody I know, then we have to use that for good, and we have to use that to help others. And I think as long as you do all that, what you jump into a lot, unless you just totally lose your mind, is going to come out good. You know? So,
Wow.
I mean, that's a quick history of who I am. I've done insurance for 30 years this month.
That's wild.
In Denton, Texas. Yeah, a long time. I started when I was 24, or as I tell people, I might have been in diapers. I don't even remember, but
Yeah.
done it a long time. My dad's passed away, so he was my mentor, and thank goodness I had him all those years and learned so much. But it's been exciting to buy land, to do insurance, to do an RV park, to flip stuff. I mean, just been a blessing.
Well, I remember when you and I met, your dad, in fact, I sold some safety equipment, I think, to your dad's business.
Yes,
because
you
he
did.
was still doing that powder coating and all that stuff. And
Correct.
You were like, yeah, Dad got bored in his retirement and he started a business, and all of a sudden it's running millions of dollars. And I was like,
Yeah.
who does that? Like, who starts a
does that?
business like that and just all of a sudden is running millions of dollars? It was just wild, the story. But that's how he was wired. Like, that's just who he was. Like, I don't know how else to say it. It's just weird, but some people are just wired that way. They can build stuff and grow stuff, and you can tell that he's passed that on to you for sure.
100%. And I listened, and I watched, and I asked questions, and then you don't. He would give all of us opportunities, all of us boys and my sister opportunities to do certain things, and he'd say, "You want to be in?" And I was the only one in every single time, because I kept thinking to myself, "Wow, I mean, this is good. This is a long-term deal, because we bought ranches for 20 years. That was another business we did, and we got to almost 2,000 acres paid for.
Wow,
in two states, and the only reason we quit buying is because he was sick, and his lawyer's like, y'all can't buy anymore. So, but yeah, we own a lot of land, and it was a business model that we didn't make up. We had a good friend that said, "Hey, y'all should do this. Here's how we do it," and they were very successful. And we thought, okay, so we started out with 28 acres, then we went to 55 acres, then we went to 400 acres, then we did 300 and something more acres, and then 300 more, and then
that's wild.
Then pieced together 350 more in Arkansas. So all of a sudden you look up, and of course the model, you never buy land unless you can pay for it.
Yeah.
Don't borrow money ever on land. That was Dad's motto, and pretty sure that was the right way to go. So
yeah, you guys have done well with the land purchases. Just talking with you about kind of what you guys have done, because you'll buy it, hold it, and then at some point cash back out of it again, which makes a lot of sense. And y'all, sounds like you bought in some great areas. But I mean, if you think about what you just said, you've said it a couple of times, even on the podcast, that you guys knew somebody that was successful. You talked with them, modeled what they were doing, went and did what they were doing, took the risk, based off of the knowledge and the information that you had learned from somebody else, and went and just did the thing. I don't think most people go do the thing. They see the person have success, they see them doing whatever they're doing, but they don't take it and actually go do something with it. You guys, it sounds like, have taken through the years and just, you'll go take the risk. You'll go do the thing. And I'm sure there's probably some land that you lost money on and some that you made a ton of money on, and
Yeah.
a little bit of everything there.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you don't win every single time. I remember on a rent house that my dad told me not to buy. And I was like, well, how can I go wrong, man? And, that's when they were doing two mortgages.
Yeah.
And so I did it, and it was a brand new house. I'm like, how am I going to go wrong? It's a brand new house. Well, I bought it in the wrong area. The area kind of collapsed. It took me 10 years to finally get my money back out. Of course, I got my original investment, but I lost money.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, that was the only one time I didn't ever listen to him. Him and another client that was worth, about $50 million.
Oh, my goodness.
He told me the same thing, and I should have listened to him too. And then he asked me, how's that house going? I said, not very good. He goes, I told you not to do it.
Yeah, you should probably listen to the guy that's worth about 50 mil. That guy probably knows a few things. Yeah. Getting around those kind of people, though, I mean, the opportunities to speak, have those guys speak into your life, talk to you about business, talk to you about opportunity. Like, that's just a different world. They think very differently. I know I didn't realize that you guys had moved back and your dad had bought that at like you're 7 years old. That's when my dad bought our business, was right when I was around 7. So I grew up in the same kind of environment, small business. Dad brought me in. I was with him all the time. I'd go to the bank with him. I'd go to customers with him. I'd be sitting meetings with him. I'd do all that stuff as a kid. That's kind of interesting. I didn't realize both of our stories were that way. That's pretty cool.
They're pretty similar, and we had dads that were business owners, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But
big difference when your dad does that.
Well, and your dad, think about how many people that own different kind of businesses he got to deal with in the safety business, right? And the same with insurance. I mean, we insure all kind of different businesses, so we get to learn about all of them. And that's how Dad actually did the powder coating deal. We insured like 11 powder coaters. And he's like, man, when I retire here in the near future, I'm gonna start a powder coating plant. And I was like, what?
What?
He goes,
where did that come from?
What? That's fascinating. You're let's see, how old was he? 56 or 50? No, he's 58, I think. And he'd done insurance for 30 plus years and said, I'm done. Y'all boys know how to do it. Let's roll. And I was like, okay, Dad. And then all of a sudden he's in a powder coating business, took $180,000 of his own money, bought all used equipment and rented a building, and the rest is history. And I think when it was in the end, he had about 11 million in sales.
Oh my goodness. That is wild.
72 employees and 2 different locations. Yeah.
That's wild.
It's wild.
Yeah. That was supposed to be a retirement, like a retirement business. Yeah.
I know.
I'm just going to go start a powder coating company. Yeah. That's
he was
wild.
so smart. Yeah.
When you think about how many businesses, like in the US, I've heard either 4 or 6%. I've heard both numbers. I don't know which one's correct, but 4 to 6% of businesses hit $1 million a year. And you think about how many times, like how often somebody that knows what they're doing can hit $1 million. Like, we spun up the epoxy company. We took it to 6 figures, and then we took it to 7 figures. Like, it's interesting as you kind of think about the different businesses and the models and that kind of thing. But I kind of do the same thing in the sense that because we work with all these different companies, different kinds of businesses doing marketing and all that, I get to see the inner workings. I get to see the ones that make money and the ones that don't make any money. And so that's what kind of led us to different businesses through the years. I didn't realize that's why he chose what he chose. That's very interesting.
That's why. And his favorite saying was, Brian, always live like you're poor.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And always come across to other people that you don't have a lot.
Yeah.
And that was the liability side of him being in insurance for all those years. Hey, don't be showing off that you got anything. And then that way, stay humble. I mean, you're being blessed by God the whole time. He totally believed everything that he ever succeeded in, or we succeeded in, was because of God.
Yeah.
And was because we were blessed and because we kept giving back. And he was a behind the scenes guy, and that's what I've become too. And we've given and still give lots of money and time, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
To individual people, might be somebody with cancer, might be an organization we believe in or something. And we don't ever want really anybody to know that. We just want to do the right thing. And then I feel if you do that, you will be blessed in other areas of your life, which I
Yeah.
feel that I have, and he was for sure, 100% for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You guys have had, you got a bunch of kiddos running around. We were just talking about that you're about to enter a new stage of life in the next couple of years because all your kids are going to be graduated college and be off doing their own thing. And you've got an RV park that two of them are kind of running right now, which is a great entrepreneurial experience for them to get to see if it's
definitely.
something that they want to do. I don't know if any of them are going to follow in your footsteps, but are any of them going into insurance? Are any of your kids going to follow in your footsteps?
Well, they're not going to in the Texas realm because none of them wanted to come back to Denton, Texas. And
Oh,
so you have to, if you're an insurance agent, you have to be back sometimes. You can't just do
yeah,
everything by phone because you have to be able to go talk to people in person and all that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, I'm afraid that if they are in insurance, they might do some stuff in Arkansas, but I don't think anybody's coming back to Texas.
well, you
So
own, I think you and I've talked about this. I know when you and I met, you were starting to acquire other insurance companies. And
correct.
then now you guys are kind of a part of a conglomerate that owns a bunch of insurance companies. I guess you have
Yes.
them in Arkansas. Is that? Yeah.
There's 15 agencies, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's kind of wild thinking that when we met, I think you were just buying Texas insurance
Yes,
agents.
we were just buying local. We bought two agencies, and after that, you just couldn't find good ones and good
Yeah.
partners. And after that, we always, that's another thing we always did. We always saved money, and we always had money to do the deals.
Yeah.
And so my brother and I ended up with a whole bunch of money in the bank account because we were trying to buy more agencies, and it just got where we couldn't find them or we couldn't afford the ones that we wanted to buy.
Yeah.
So, at the end
That's
of the
almost
day,
like a Berkshire Hathaway kind of concept, right? You keep
a little
stacking
bit.
cash until you find the deal that's the good deal.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then then we would do a 4-year payout, and that'd be it, and we'd be done with it. And if we had to borrow money on the very first agency, but we
Yeah.
didn't have to. But Dad wanted us to because I put in 10,000, he put in 10, and we borrowed like 92. And he wanted me to be able to see, here's how you get a loan. Here's what interest is. Here's how all of it works. But you're paying this off as quick as possible, and all
Yeah.
and this and that. But
I've heard that you can buy insurance agencies like you can borrow up to 110% or something. It's something crazy. Is that true?
that could be true. Insurance agencies are one of the hottest things in the country to buy, and they have been probably for about 5 or 6 years. And
Yeah.
I get calls or emails or texts every single day for somebody that wants me to join their group and buy me out.
Yeah.
And so it's very interesting. It's the independent agency side,
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, which that's
but
a big difference, right? When you're not attached to a brand or a company or whatever. Because you guys, y'all, I know that we do our insurance with you. Y'all go shop everybody, and then you come back with whatever the best deal is for whatever the thing is that I have, whether it's the RV park or the RV or the house or the whatever.
that's correct. Yeah, and we have a lot of programs on the independent side, whereas another State Farm or Allstate, I mean, they have their avenue, but they don't have certain programs, and so
Yeah, kind of limited.
they're a little bit limited, and we can do anything. Like I have a new producer, and I said, hey, everything you see from this parking lot is your client, which is hard to fathom that, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, everything. I said, you can insure anything you see in this whole United States, any kind of business, anything. And it's just hard to fathom that
Yeah.
it's that you could do it, but you can. And of course, knowledge is a big thing, right? After 30 years of doing this, I always tell everybody I still can learn, but I pretty much know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. With the insurance stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Well, you're the
So,
first guy I reach out to whenever I something I like with the RV park the other day. I'm going, I don't know what I need. You guys
yeah,
were the first ones I reached out to say, hey, we're buying this thing. What do we do? Like, how do we
that's
insure
right.
this thing? Which just surprised me, how that kind of worked with the RV park and all of that. It was a lot easier than I expected it to be, which was
Yeah.
nice. That was a nice surprise.
Yeah, the insurance on RV parks is not too difficult. And what's funny is a lot of companies actually do it as a mobile home park, even though it's an RV park because they've been writing mobile home parks for 50 years
Oh
and
yeah.
they don't need to change it to RV. It's the same classes and stuff. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and of course, you got me to help you a little bit on stuff because I already owned one. So that was good for you.
That
So
was really good. That was
yeah,
really good. Especially when I started thinking about rules and all the other stuff. I was going, what are the rules that we need to have on an RV park? So no, that helped a ton. That helped a ton. I think there's just a different way of thinking. When we first got on the call today, you had mentioned that you're traveling back and forth to Arkansas and all that. When do you think you moved from operator to owner? Because I think since I've known you, you've always kind of looked at the business more as I'm the owner. I need to position the business in a way that I have staff that's doing their jobs, give them, train them, educate them, and then turn them loose. Like you just said, you got a new producer that you're trying to help them to grow into their own business, their own stuff that they're doing. What shifted that? The mindset shift and all that. Was your dad kind of that way? Was he wired the same way?
Yeah, I'm probably a little more hands on with
Okay.
people, with employees and stuff. I mean, he was good, but I'm probably more. I mean, I like to go, how's your day to day? Is
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
is your family good? I like to know about them and make sure they're taken care of. And the key, and people need to think about this, is always listen, not to just your employees and your friends, but people that God puts in your way to help. And
Yeah.
that's so important if you're going to be successful. And all these girls here that work for me, they're great and their families are great. And they always say, I appreciate you so much for taking care of us and going above and beyond. And I don't look at it that way, but that's how I am, and I truly care. And if you care about people, things turn out a lot better than if you
Yeah.
don't. I mean,
Yeah.
they can read through like all I do is trying to do is make a bunch of money. So, he can just move on, you know how it goes. So
Oh yeah.
at the end of the day, I mean, it's the people are key, and finding the right ones. I mean, my business runs by itself, the insurance business. Well, the RV park does too, because my kids run it. But at the end of the day, I mean, I still want to be involved and be answering questions. I mean, I've had 2 phone calls since we've started, from staff asking questions, right? And so
Yeah.
I'll call them back or text them and answer their question. Because I mean, let's be real, nobody calls their boss or an insurance agent for just to say hi usually, and
No,
how was your
not
day?
usually.
Yeah, you got a question. You got to know something,
Yeah.
and I just happen to be the guy that's done it 30 years that knows a lot
Yeah.
and has been
Yeah.
blessed to remember a lot. So,
Yeah.
but
How I know you and I talked about this earlier. Uh, do you have a game plan moving forward? I know you've got the insurance assets. I know you still have property and land. You and I were talking about potentially down the road, maybe selling the RV park or something like that. But do you see, is there another business down the road that you think you'd want to own, or are you kind of done starting businesses, or what do you think?
I've been praying about that a lot, because I'm going to sell one of the ranches. My dad had a ranch that we bought, and it was his ranch, and he loved it. Him and his wife Betsy went out there. They had so much fun.
Yeah.
And of course he's gone, and so I look around, 2.5 years later, I'm like, man, we're not going out there. We're not using it. It's, it's worth several $1,000,000. And it's just sitting there.
Yeah.
And so you think, I've got to get that money and either do a 1031 and buy more land in Arkansas or Colorado or Montana, or I've got to cash in and take that money and do something else with it.
Yeah.
So I've been praying, trying to get God to show me the way
Yeah.
in a dream or something. Hey, I want you to do this. Or is it me doing something closer, to Harding, or
Yeah.
who knows, or helping out a Christian organization. I don't know, but I'm listening. I'm trying to figure out the next step. Obviously, I'm in good health. I'm 55 years old, and hopefully, God willing, got a long time to keep doing good in the world.
I know that, like you said, your dad started he started a whole nother business, man. Let's just be real, like 70 something employees, and like he started a whole thing. Do you have plans? Do you think you'll do something like that? You're probably going to keep doing insurance for a while, aren't you? I mean, you guys.
Yeah. I love insurance. I'll probably always sell insurance. Hopefully I'll be able to get all the information collected and hand it off to other people to be successful with it. That'd be great,
Yeah.
But there's got to be something else out there. I mean, the RV park. I took a piece of land that had bushes that were 15 foot tall. You couldn't even walk through, and homeless people were living at the back. And I mean, it hadn't been touched in years and years and years. And
Yeah.
built the RV park from scratch, So that was I did like that. That was fun to go from a really nasty looking thing to something really pretty. And I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Have you ever
So
developed
maybe I'll do
anything
that.
before? Was that
No.
the first development?
Never done development. But lots of clients that done developments, and I knew how it all worked because I asked all the right questions, and
Yeah.
so I mean that's what the client I said that was worth at least 50 million. He was a developer. He
Mm.
built commercial buildings and apartments and rent houses and bought land, and so I would pick his brain for the last 20 years, right? So
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I think that's what people miss. They don't ask the right questions to the people that know what they're doing. And those people usually want to tell you what they've done. They want to help you if they're good people.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And people they just live their life every day. And like Groundhog Day, man, every day,
Yeah.
like that movie. Just same thing every day instead of using the resources, using the people they know.
Yeah.
That's the key. One of the main things to being successful. I mean, sure, I can go create something new and, do really well with it, but why recreate the wheel if somebody's already done it and they're wanting to share it with you, right?
If somebody's listening and they don't have that circle, what advice or like how would you encourage, like how do they find those people? Like a $50 million, somebody that's worth $50 million, they're probably hanging out at a different place than a lot of our listeners are hanging out, or living life differently than a lot of our listeners are listening. Like I know
Yeah.
you've been able to get in touch with a lot of people through the insurance business, that kind of thing. How would the average Joe find a mentor like that?
Probably to find a good mentor today and, would probably be at church
Yeah.
and pay attention. Who are the people at church that are always involved in everything, that always are talking about giving,
Yeah.
that are older, that you can tell, are good with people or successful. Those people, and there's several at our church here that are really big business owners that have lots of wisdom and they love to share it. But, you have to ask them the right questions and go eat lunch with them and whatever. But
Sure.
I think, to me, there's probably 5 to 25 in every church.
Yeah.
There's lots of people who have been blessed by the Lord and they want to share, but they're not going to go out because they don't want to appear, hey, I'm better than you.
Right. Right. Right.
I'm haughty toddy. They're behind the scenes people. Most all those people that are really successful are behind the scenes people. Even the guy worth 50 million, he's kind of a hermit. Him and his wife like to travel. They have a little bitty group of people they race Cobras with and have cars stuff with, but he doesn't have a lot of friends and he's at a little bitty circle. And the only reason I got to know him, I think that was a cold call. I knew who he was. I knew he was a big developer. And I'm like, I'm going to go get that dude's insurance. He needs my help. And so I did. It took me about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And then we got to be friends.
Yeah.
And one thing I do believe in business, you can't be best friends with everybody, but you can actually show interest
Sure.
in that person and what they like, what they've done over what you're trying to sell them.
Sure.
Or get them involved in, right?
Yeah. Be genuine with them.
That's right. They know that. They can look you in the eye and go, that's a good guy. He's telling me the truth.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we all make mistakes. We make mistakes. We have to apologize, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I said, if somebody out there is like, man, I just don't know the right people, I think that's the way to do it. And, in your community, find out who the good business owners are that are good, honest people and just go talk to them. I mean, you'd be shocked. They would say, you know what? I wish my kids would come talk to me like you, asking about what we've done here. Because a lot of kids these days, like use my kids, for example, they don't want to move back to Denton and do insurance. Right. And that's okay. I mean, but at the end of the day, I mean, that would have been third generation here in town. And that would have been pretty cool, I mean, I don't know, you probably know the stats on it, but most businesses after the second generation, they don't usually make it to the third, fourth, or fifth, right?
No, it's really low. Like it's bad. Yeah. I know Dad bought the paint store back when I was little. His whole purpose, in his mind, he was buying the paint store for us boys. Yeah. He was buying it so that someday down the road he could pass that on to us as a business and that sort of thing. And we all worked in it at some point or another. And then eventually one of my brothers ended up staying with it, and then he sold it and retired from it. But I think back, I think a lot of, especially that generation, I think a lot of them did buy businesses or start businesses thinking with their family in mind. I don't know that Lexa has any desire to do any of the things that I do right now. Like we talked, like you were saying, like your kids probably aren't going to move back to Denton. They'll probably go somewhere else. who knows where Lexa will end up. She actually met with a lady today about her silversmithing business, and this lady does like hats for some of the biggest. Like she had a hat on Post Malone last week. Like it's
Wow.
she does stuff for like big name musicians and all kinds of stuff. And this lady's like, I want to work with you. I'm thinking, who knows what in the world Lexa's going to get into down the road, but it's exciting. And I hope she does great with it. Like I want her to have her own entrepreneurial journey and start like she wants to own a business. She wants to have a business, and I want to support her in however we can do that. She is the kind of person that will ask questions and do all of that. I think she gets really nervous sometimes, like you said. And sometimes those people at church, kind of like you were talking about with your dad, they don't necessarily seem like the person that would be highly successful because they are maybe simpler people. Maybe
Yes.
they're not driving the nicest vehicle. They're not they're not doing the other stuff. They're just like my dad. He probably was worth more than everybody sitting around the coffee shop table, but you'd never know it. Like
Yeah.
sometimes he drove an old beater Jeep up there, and he'd get out in his same blue jeans and button up shirt he always wore, and nobody would ever have known he had any money laying around. So it's kind of
Yeah.
interesting that it was.
That's
I
fun.
think maybe that's the generation. I don't know. It's kind of interesting
I,
thinking about that.
your dad, see, my dad, he passed away he was almost 79. So
They were about the same age.
same age. Yeah.
Yeah, they were
I
about the
think
same
it
age.
was that they were built the same way from that generation. And, you know, there was probably more entrepreneurs actually from that generation than there ever has been because
Yeah,
of the necessity to make more and do better. Because
yeah,
everybody at one time in this country, except for the 10 families, was just a regular Joe.
yeah,
And then this country took off. I mean, let's be real. We've lived through the best times of this country so far. I mean, what an unbelievable opportunity we've had to do what we want, to be able to be involved, to make money. I mean, it's just been crazy. You know, I know it's harder, and people always, oh, it's so much harder for this generation. Well, it is, but that's because they're not out talking to people. They're
yeah,
not out getting the
yeah,
wisdom from those people. You know, they're too involved in their phone or their TikTok or their little social circle, and they haven't. And I don't know if they're ever going to grow up. It's the only problem. I mean,
yeah.
we pray and hope that they all grow up. But man, I
It's
tell you what,
different.
yeah, you got to get up
It's
with a
different.
purpose every day, and it needs to
Yeah,
be, our. You say this too, probably, but we always say, God first, family second, business third,
sure.
and it's always worked out fine, and it always works out good. And I mean, it's just being real with people
Yeah,
and just loving people, hugging people. I know a lot of people aren't huggers, and I know it's hard for a guy to hug a girl, but I mean, when you do it in the right context, and you're like, I heard about your mother, come here, let me give you a hug. I
yeah,
mean, that kind of stuff matters. I mean,
yeah,
people feel connected, and it's just sometimes you have to do stuff that might be a little scary to you. Talk about stuff that, golly, I didn't think I was a counselor, but I guess I am today. How do I handle this? Well,
yeah,
let God speak to you, right? Let God speak through you. Listen, slow down, pay
yeah.
attention, but all that has to do with being, successful. How many people do you know successful that don't care about people at all, or not at least, pretty slick? I mean,
Yeah,
where they think
yeah,
you think they care about people, but they don't, right?
yeah,
So, I
yeah. It's
mean,
kind of interesting thinking back because we've been around a lot of successful people, and it is interesting think about the dynamics, how they think, how they process, what's important to them, what's not. I know family's always been super important to you guys. I know church and God has always been super important to you guys. Like from the time we met, which we met at church, like
right.
it just is kind of interesting thinking back to all of that. And even when we met, really our first interactions, yeah, we did insurance with you guys, but a lot of it was personal stuff. It was Michelle's health, your mom's health, like a lot of the stuff that was going on at the time. Thinking back through all of that, it's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it doesn't seem like that long ago, even though it
it
really has been a
doesn't.
while. It's been a
It's
while.
been 11, 12 years ago. It's been a
I
while.
know.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. I think the thought process, like you've mentioned a bunch of things today about the way your dad saw life, about the way you're kind of seeing life, people that have been successful see life. If you were to leave people with kind of especially we've got a lot of Christian entrepreneurs that listen to this podcast. If you were to leave them with kind of a final thought, like what kind of advice would you really want to give somebody that's a Christian entrepreneur? Maybe they're struggling, maybe because I've got a lot of people that they're just starting in their first business, or they've got a business but it's not quite there yet, and they're struggling with success, but they know it's right there, right? And they're going through the roller coaster that you and I have ridden now for a while. What kind of advice would you give them out of curiosity?
I think one main thing that comes to mind in a new business, it might be new for 5 to 7 years. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have your first 2 years are really good, and then things are going great. And then you're like, well, I got to hire a salesperson because you were the only salesperson. And then you hire that salesperson who's not near as good as you, but you're training him and he's good, but then you quit selling.
Yeah.
So one thing you always got to keep in mind is you don't want to be 100% involved all the time, but if you're really, really good with people and really good at sales, you have to continue to do that in your business always.
Yeah.
You don't just pass it to the other person and go sit in your office by the phone, wait for somebody to call you. You got to do what your gifts are, what you've been blessed with. You have to use those gifts. Otherwise, your business is not going to continue to do good because, when you hire several people, I mean, we haven't lost a lot of employees, but we lost one to cancer.
Yeah.
We've lost some whose parents were sick and they had to move and take care of them. And, these are good employees. And so that puts a big hole in your business. And if you can't fill it again yourself until you get somebody better, then your business has problems. So
yeah,
being able to do everything in your business and do what you've been blessed with, how you built the business, keep doing that, keep being that person, whatever it is. My dad was good at sales, but he was really good with running the whole business, motivating people, getting results. And, I was the guy that was out, wearing out my shoe leather, hitting the street, right?
Yeah.
So, and I like that because I didn't tell you, but when I was, I guess I was about 8 or 9. This is funny. We'll go back real quick. We got time.
No, it's good.
So you used to sell those candy bars at school, everybody had to sell them. And you had the dark chocolate, the milk chocolate, and the one with almonds, right? Just 3 boxes. And so my dad, he'd say, well, I'm not buying them from you. Y'all got to go sell them, which
That's
he was
what
training
my dad
us
would
at
do
that
too.
age. 100%. So he's training us at that age, right? And we didn't know it. We do now.
Yeah.
So we would each have a box. So there's 3 of us. We're triplets, and we all carry a different box, and we all go together down the street. He's like, y'all go on. And he didn't go with us. I mean, we went down and he said, I want you to knock on all those doors on that street and then all the way back down the other side and then come back and let's see who sold the most candy bars. Okay. So we would go, right? So I would always be first because I wanted to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
So I'd knock on the door and I'd say, hey, I'm Brian Hutcherson from Edison Elementary School, and I'd love for you to buy candy bars to support us at school. And how many do you want to buy? Would you like a milk chocolate, a dark chocolate, and one with almond because it's only $3? And then they go, yeah, sure, I'll buy 3. They'd give me $3. I'd get one out of my box and I'd say, hey, Barry, give me that one. Browley, give me that one. We'd give all 3. And we'd go to the next one and it's Barry's turn. And then they would just kind of sit there.
Yeah, they wouldn't know what to say.
They'd kind of go, hey, would you buy some candy bars from me?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there thinking the whole time, well, we didn't tell them who you were, why you were selling, where were you from, and how many bars you wanted to buy. And so I'd get really frustrated with them because I would figure, you just listen to me. I just do what Dad does.
Yeah, just do the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And so anyway, I would always sell the most candy bars, and I'd end up selling all of them because they just couldn't do it. And they wouldn't want to do it. They were scared to do it. And they just said, you just sell them all. So I tell Dad, I said, I think I sold them all of them at 3, Dad. And there was like 30 of them. So anyway, that's why I say sales is genetic. I mean, truthfully, I mean, I have some personality traits inherited from my grandmother or whoever in her family, but definitely that was a fun story because, I mean, who would have dreamed you were being trained to be a salesperson at like 8 years old?
It's interesting though, because I think back about some of the situations Dad put me in, because we hired my oldest brother for a time out in El Paso, and I went out to help him sell because I'm like you, like I'll go knock on a door, I'll go talk to anybody, it doesn't bother me. Yeah. And so I went out with him and we were knocking doors, cold calling, doing the whole thing, and it made him pretty uncomfortable. It wasn't something that was a natural thing for him. He could handle the client after they were landed, but he struggled to get that door open.
Yeah.
And we've learned that there are people that are hunters and there's people that are gatherers, and I'm a hunter. Like, right? I think
Yes.
you're wired the
We
same
are we are the
way.
same. We are a lot the
Yes.
same.
Yes.
Obviously.
And
Yeah.
he's not. He wasn't that kind of personality. It scared him half to death to go do that, I think. And so it showed in his cells because he could maintain, but he couldn't grow what he was doing. And I think back because dad would send me off by the time that I could ride a bicycle, he'd send me to go do deliveries and stuff down the street to just the places that were close to our store. And I'd
Wow.
hop in and I'd put the paint in my little basket and I'd take off down the street to go deliver the paint or whatever. And then as soon as I got a driver's license, man, I was delivering paint all over the place and whatever supplies and stuff that we were selling at the time. So I haven't thought a lot about that, but yeah, I mean, dad was always teaching by doing, which is how
Yes.
I kind of learn. I learn the same way. I have to go do it. You can tell me all day long. I can read about it. I can listen to something, but I got to like go do the thing, and I'll go fell at it and fall on my face. And I'm okay with that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
No,
okay
I
with
mean,
it.
I want to fix everything. I mean, I'm not a plumber. I am scared of electricity. I will do a little bit of it, but I mean, I'm going to try to fix everything first,
Yeah.
before I hire somebody, just because I'm built that way. And now we have YouTube, which really does work. I mean,
It does.
I've got a UTV out on the trailer here, and it runs great. And you go about 100 yards, and it just dies. And so you have to find the code, right? Well, you have to hit this button. You got to put this in the hours, and then you got to hit this button and hold it down.
Yeah.
Then you got to hit your light switch 3 times.
Yeah.
Well, how would I have known that if I wouldn't have got YouTube? So, guys,
Never.
y'all can use YouTube. It's okay.
Yeah. We bought this property. It came with a little Cub Cadet thing, and I had cleaned it the other day, and I'd undone the seatbelt. I didn't realize that there's a seatbelt governor on this thing, and so when the seatbelt's not actually plugged in, it'll only go to about 9 miles an hour, and then at 10, it starts to sputter and spit and all this stuff, and I thought something was wrong with it, and it was just the fact that the seatbelt wasn't actually buckled. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like something as
Thanks for
simple
saying
as
that. I'm gonna go buckle my seatbelts in mine and see if that's the problem.
that could be it. I don't know.
But I do know that.
I wouldn't have known that. I wouldn't have known
Yeah.
that was the problem.
You just reminded me of something I used to know. I'm gonna go do that when I get home. I'm gonna put them in there and see if I can drive and it won't fail.
It might, because there's a governor that's built into this one. As soon as the seatbelt comes unbuckled, it won't go over 9, 10 miles an hour. It's done. And it'll sit there and just spit and sputter the whole time. As soon as you buckle it back up, you can do 30 miles an hour, man. It doesn't even, I was so mad when I figured that out. Or I didn't figure it out. Somebody that was working on it figured it out, and he told me, and I was going, now I feel really stupid. Like,
that's called forced safety.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
That's it.
Any final thoughts that you have for our listeners today? This has been great, by the way. Thanks for sharing, because there's so many. If somebody was listening to this and you read between the lines of the things that you said, good night. There's so many golden nuggets in this, from how people think, how people that are successful think, what we should be looking for, how to find mentors, like all the things that I think a lot of our listeners struggle with because they're not in those circles. Maybe they didn't have a dad like you and I did that was an entrepreneur. A lot of people have never been around entrepreneurship. And so they struggle to know like what that life's going to be like or be around it enough. But any final thoughts that you might have about entrepreneurship or being a Christian entrepreneur?
I think one thing to leave with y'all would be, make sure that what you're getting into is going to bless the Lord. Not a business that, that might take people down the wrong path or you down the wrong path. I mean, pay attention to what business you're getting into. And then also, make sure that you remember you do have a family, unless you're single. You do have a family. Don't forget your family. I mean, God's blessed you with those people in your life. And as being an entrepreneur and having your own business, you can spend all your time working and forget about everybody else. Don't do that, because that would be a really bad thing. And I don't think God would bless you going forward because you're not doing the right thing. So,
yeah, that's great advice. I know that, man, you've seen it, I'm sure too, but I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs that I know that their families all busted up, kids are all over the place, divorced, just busted up because they may have been super successful, but in the financial world, the career world, but everything else is all busted up,
Yeah.
damaged. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
You
not
don't want
good.
that. No, you want to wake up in the end and go, man, it's been a great run. Thank you, Lord, for the blessings and
Yeah.
have an awesome life, you know, helping others and doing the right thing. And if you get too sidetracked, you know as good as I do, it's hard to sometimes those people don't come back to the right side. So,
Yeah, it's about way more than just the money, that's for sure.
oh
Um,
yeah, and don't ever look at your money. I mean that's one other thing was funny. My dad said he said just go sell insurance and don't look what you got paid. He said don't ever go back and go, what did I get? What commission did I get? How much did I make? He said, just sell
Interesting.
insurance. Just sell insurance. Just do what you're good at. But don't ever look at the money and you'll be blessed and you'll make plenty of money. And he was totally right.
That's very
He,
interesting.
yeah, totally
Hmm.
right. Very, very interesting concept, but it worked. And I just went and deal to deal to deal and I'd pass them
Yeah.
off and they'd book them and I'd make sure everybody was good and collect the money and go to the next deal. Never even looked what I got. And all of a sudden looked up my bank account's like way bigger than it was. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. Hey,
Yeah.
Dad, can we take a raise? Because when I started, I was making what was I making? $597 a month.
Woo, killing it.
Yeah, I was killing it.
Yeah.
And by my fifth year, I was making 60,000 a
Wow.
year. A year.
Yeah.
And then after that, everything snowballed.
Yeah.
And the most I think I ever got up to was high six figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, because our business is up and down like everybody else's business.
Yeah.
But I mean, I tell you, just things will happen if you do the right thing and you listen to God and you truly help other people. Your life will be fulfilled and you'll be successful. And if
No,
you fail, you didn't fail forever. You just failed then.
Yeah.
You can try again.
Yeah. I think you said it earlier, with whatever comes next, whatever you do with this piece of land or whatever comes next, you're just praying about it. Like,
Yeah.
where does
Pray
God
about
want to take it? Like that's way more important than you going out and trying to force something or trying to do something that's not where God wants it to go. Like that needs to be the very first thing.
Yes.
I had somebody out here on the property the other day. He's a long-time business. He's one of those kind of guys that you're talking about. I have no idea what his net worth is, but I know he's worth something kind of guy.
Yeah.
Um, and he and I were talking about a few things about business, some land that he has. He's got some stuff in Colorado still, and I had made some comment about him. Have you developed it or done anything with it or whatever? And he goes, no, it wasn't in God's plan. And I was like, what do you mean it wasn't in God's plan? He goes, well, it was in my plan, but he said, I prayed about it. And he said, God never told me to go, like it never was something that I felt God called me to go do. So he said, we put in the electrical and we put in the plumbing or the septic and the whatever. I don't know what all of it he did, but he said, we never actually built anything. And I was like, that's weird. Like that he felt like he was needing to do all that stuff, but then nothing ever happened. And I said, well, I said, what's your advice for me out here? Cause I'm always looking, man. I'm always learning.
Yeah.
I will be a never ending learner. And his main advice was, are you praying? Are you praying about this property and the RV park and what's to come? And he said, maybe God gave it to you to grow it and have the business growing and all that. Maybe he gave it to you to build it back up and sell it and then take the profit and go do something else with it. Like he said, just ask God for it. But he said, you need to start it with prayer. Like
Yeah.
that's what you need to start with. And I thought that's pretty cool that he's from the church here that we've been going to. And, I just thought that was pretty neat that was his very first thing that he told me. Just need to be praying
Yeah.
about it.
No, I think he's right. I really do. 100%.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I think one of the biggest takeaways from this conversation is something I've been thinking about a lot in my own life. At some point we have to graduate from only thinking about income or income matters. Yeah, you do have to make money and we do have to pay bills. We need to take care of our families. But eventually the question needs to get bigger. Like, what am I building and what am I building it for? And what am I buying and owning and stewarding these things for? Ultimately, what am I leaving behind? Like, what kind of legacy is actually being left by what I'm building? There's a big difference between building a successful career and building a legacy. Look, if you're listening today, and this is, especially if you're really early on in your entrepreneurial journey, don't hear this conversation and think, I need to go buy 5 businesses and 100 acres or whatever. That's not the lesson. Look, start where you are. Learn to produce income. Go pray about it. Go spend some time in prayer about what it is that God's led you to go do. Learn to sell. You've heard that over and over from Brian today. Learn to sell. Learn to lead, learn to manage money, learn to steward what God has already put into your hands. Don't stop there. Start thinking like an owner. Look beyond the next paycheck, or like Brian was saying a minute ago, look beyond what the next payment was for the insurance that he was selling, right? Look beyond the next month's revenue. Look beyond what you can personally produce with your own two hands. Ask yourself, look, what am I building that has value without me? What am I acquiring that can produce for years, maybe decades? What am I creating that could bless my family beyond my lifetime? Maybe most importantly, if God gives me more, can he trust me to steward more? That's the bigger game, not accumulation for accumulation's sake. Stewardship, impact, generosity, freedom, legacy. Brian, thank you so much for telling your story, your experience, your faith with us today. Guys, if this conversation has challenged you to think differently, especially about business and ownership, share this episode with another entrepreneur who needs to start thinking beyond just maybe their next paycheck or paying the bills. Leave a comment. Let me know kind of where you're at in your entrepreneurial journey. Subscribe to the eForge podcast on whatever platform you're listening on. Leave us a review. Keep coming back as we continue to have conversations about business, leadership, faith, and building things that actually matter. And until next Thursday, keep forging forward. Stay aligned with your calling. Build with clarity, confidence, and conviction, because this is the forge where leaders are made and legacies are built.